Today our story is about the general who confused the public opinion and made movies about his life. He prepared army to go to Palestine, and the most terrifying story and caused controversy is that he was eating human flesh. The General Amin Dada. Before we start, like and comment. Let's go. In May 17, 1925, Idi Amin was born in Ugandan capital Kampala, and he grew up with his uncles after his father divorced his mother. His life was very bad. Amin worked in many professions until he joined the British colony army in Uganda, because that time Uganda was under British occupation. As you know, Britain occupied more than half the world, only to spread love, peace, and democracy, and control of gold mines. Let's get back to our story. To be honest, the story differed. There are people who said that he was cooking in the British army, and then because of his physical strength, by the way, he was a boxer, and then they choose him to be an officer or soldier. And there are people who said that Amin didn't work in as a cook and he was officer in the army. But the story that no one disagrees in is that he turned the table on everyone. In 1947, he began his military career as a soldier, and he was promoted in the military ranks until he became Major General in 1964. Now you might be surprised and say, only in 17 years he became a general, and that time and after Uganda's independence from British colonialism in 1962. The top position of the army were available, because that time Britain does not promote Ugandans to high position in the army. The top position were for the British or for the white people. And the people of Uganda were only soldier or small military ranks. And when Uganda got freedom, high army positions are available. But Amin didn't get the position of general so easily. Sources say that Idi Amin was the iron hand of Ugandan president that time, Milton Obote. In 1964, he became the first commander of the army. It means that everyone is under his control. That time, Amin received information that the Ugandan president had planned to remove him from his position as a general. At this moment, Amin is thinking and said, I have to move quickly. At the right opportunity in January 1971, Ugandan President Milton Obote was on visit to Singapore. And shortly before Milton arrived in Singapore, Amin called him and told him, Hi bro, I hope you arrived fine.
Yes, I will arrive a little while.
Thank God you are okay. But listen, please, don't come back. He did military coup and Amin became the president in Uganda. And the same moment, he started to calling himself strange nicknames. Nickname longer than you expect. His first title, His Excellency. Then he took the doctor degree and added the title and become the Doctor His Excellency. Then he collected all the titles and became the President Marshal His Excellency Dr. Idi Amin Dada, conqueror of the British Empire. Uganda at that time was in the Western Alliance, USA and Israel and some Western countries. Amin, when he became president, he changed the direction. He joined the Eastern Alliance, the Soviet Union and the Arab countries. Then Amin heard that Israeli newspapers are attacking him. He decided to establish an army whose mission is to liberate Palestine and order Israel to surrender. To be honest, there are many different stories about him, because the Western newspaper used to say he was criminal and killed millions of people, and he ate the flesh of his opponents. But honestly, about him eating human flesh, I don't know, but I think it's Western media propaganda. Yes, maybe he's a dictator, but about eating the flesh of his opponents, to be honest, I cannot believe it. And Eastern newspaper considered him as a hero. So tell me in the comments. Amin remained in power for 8 years, and a lot of things happened. Most importantly, this picture, when he ordered a British businessman to carry him in pharaonic chair, it was a strong message for the British. And also he expelled Indian businessmen who came with the British occupation. They controlled 90% of Uganda's economy. I forgot to tell you, he called himself the last king of the Scotland. I don't know what the point is. Even Scotland is not a border country with Uganda. Well, about the border country, war began between Tanzania and Uganda, and this is one of many reasons for the fall of Idi Amin, because since the coup against Milton Obote, and relation between Tanzania and Uganda have worsened because of the friendship of Tanzania President Julius and President Obote. Even when Milton was in Singapore, and when Amin told him don't come back, Milton traveled directly to Tanzania. President Julius immediately declared his full support. He was even supported in the 1972 rebellion attempts, led to fighting in the border conflict. But after a while, an agreement was signed, but Amin conditioned the withdrawal of all Tanzanian troops on the border between the two countries. However, relations remained tense between the two countries. After a while, Idi started demanding Kagera. Kagera is Tanzania's piece of land between the border and the Kagera River. Amin wants this area under the authority of Uganda. Of course, the Tanzanian president refused. Honestly, how the war started is unclear, because each side gave the media different story. Because that time, there is no communication device like now, like the internet and social media, and everyone has mobile. But the majority of the witnesses said in October 1978, Ugandan troops began incursion into the Tanzania and they took control of Kagera. Ugandan TV announced at that time Kagera was captured formally and annexed to Uganda. The Ugandan military has been accused of killing Tanzanian civilians and stealing their property. On November 2nd, the Tanzanian president declared war in Uganda. He began to mobilize troops to repel the invasion and liberate Kagera. The Tanzanian army has launched a counter-offensive. At the beginning of January 1979, regained control of the perimeter of the Kagera River. But do you think the war is over? Of course not. Former Ugandan President Milton told Tanzanian President Julius, "Bro, what do you think about attacking Uganda?" "Hey man, what are you talking about? I don't want problems. My land and I got it back, and I have no intention of going to war again." Of course, we all have this friend who proposes the worst solution, and the first we reject his suggestion, and then we follow it without thinking. Julius immediately ordered the troops to move. Not only the Tanzanian army, there were Ugandan rebels loyal to Milton who were also ready for war. Indeed, the Tanzanian army occupied some villages and border towns, including Masaka. The reason for entering is to inflame and incite the Ugandan people against Amin, to overthrow him. But there was no revolution against Amin. Forces loyal to former President Milton arrived near the capital of Uganda, Kampala, and the situation became very dangerous for Amin. And suddenly, former Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi intervened. He sent up to 2,500 Libyan soldiers to defend the capital Kampala, because Gaddafi was ally of Amin, and the situation getting out of the control. In May, the great battle began at Lukaya. The battle was fierce and caused the complete collapse of the Ugandan army. Libyan troops slightly hampered Tanzanian army to enter Kampala capital. But on the 1st of April, Tanzanian forces and the rebels managed to take control of Entebbe airport. The Ugandan air force was completely destroyed. On April 10, Libyan forces withdrew from Uganda. Tanzanian troops and rebels entered the capital, Kampala. There were some forces loyal to Amin who fled to Congo and Sudan. This was the first invasion in the history of Africa after British colonialism. I mean, an African country invading a neighboring country. Because of this war, Tanzania and Uganda suffered economically and the tragic situation, because in the war everyone is loser and the most affected are the civilians. In 1979, after an 8-year presidency, Amin was deposed. He went to Libya for a short time and then went to Saudi Arabia. In 1980, he stayed in Jeddah for 23 years and he died there in 2003. This is the story of General Idi Amin in short. There are sources that say that he's criminal and dictator, and other sources that said that he's a hero and stood up to colonialism. And what do you think about the story? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget the like and peace.